So the volume of the imported goods has increased significantly. So the impact of the imported inflation may delay. So what is the impact to your future decision? Okay, so I mean, I think we think that there was a big spike in imports, right? Very big, historically large, really, and to beat tariffs. And now that should actually reverse, so that it's the difference between it's exports minus imports. So and imports were huge, and so that it conveyed a very negative contribution to U.S. GDP, annualized GDP in the first quarter, as we all know. So that could, in the second quarter, be reversed, so that we have an unusually large contribution to usually positive. That's very likely as imports drop sharply. You could also have very likely you'll have restatements of the first quarter. It'll turn out that consumer spending was higher. It'll turn out that inventories were higher, and so you'll see those data revised up. It may actually go into the third quarter too, and so I think this whole process is going to a little bit make it harder to make a clean assessment of U.S. demand. I mentioned private domestic final purchases, which doesn't have inventories of government or inventories government. Anyway, it's a cleaner read on private demand, but that too probably was flattered a little bit by strong demand for imports to beat tariffs. So that might overstate. It's a really good reading, 3% PDFP in the first quarter. That might actually overstate. So it's not really going. I don't think it's going to affect our decisions. I will just say though that it's a little confusing. It's probably less confusing to us than it would be to the general public as we try to explain this. It's complicated, and GDP is sending a signal, PDFP is sending a signal. It's a little bit confusing, but I think we understand what's going on. It's not really going to change things for us.
Courtney Brown from Axios. I guess, we talked about some of the indications of potential layoffs, price hikes, an economic slowdown, all being evident in the soft data. I'm curious why the Fed needs to wait for that to translate into hard data to, make any type of monetary policy decision, especially if the hard data is not as timely or might be warped by tariff-related effects. Are you worried that the soft data might be some sort of false warning?
No, I mean, look at the state of the economy. The labor market is solid. Inflation is low. We can afford to be patient as things unfold. There's no real cost to our waiting at this point. Also, the sense of it is we're not sure what the right thing will be. There should be some increase in inflation. There should be some increase in unemployment. It does call for different responses. And so until we know more, we have the ability to wait and see. And it seems to be a pretty clear decision. Everyone on the committee supported waiting. And so that's why we're waiting.
Just a very quick follow-up. There was this sort of vibe session, if you will, where the sentiments expressed in soft data did not translate into the hard economic data. How are you thinking about that when interpreting some of the signs in the softer survey data?
I think going back a number of years, the link between sentiment data and consumer spending has been weak. It's not been a strong link at all. On the other hand, we haven't had a move of this, speed and size. So it wouldn't be the case that we're looking at this and just completely dismissing it. But it's another reason to wait and see. You're right, though. We had a couple of years during the pandemic where people were saying just very downbeat surveys and going out and spending money. So that can happen, and that may happen to some degree here. We just don't know. This is an outsized change in sentiment, though, and so none of us is looking at this and saying that we're sure one way or the other. We're not.
Matt.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Matt Egan with CNN. So you mentioned